Welcome back, guys. In this video we're gonna talk about the great phenomenal book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I think this is one of my most favorite ever book, and also one of the books that had the greatest impact in my life. It is one of those books that I go back to very often, and the reason why this book is so important and the reason why this book is still selling so many copies many decades after it came out is because it is really giving you, in a very simple, clear way, one of the core principles that drives all human behaviors, all human interaction. And when you truly understand that greatest secret behind all the tools, all the principles that he shares in his book, it all comes down to this one thing. And it's this one thing that sometimes we don't understand why we do certain things. Why do people do certain things? Why is it that people are, so complex? But it all comes back to this one thing. And so in this video, I'm gonna do my best to explain that one thing is and how it works out through different examples. Because once you truly understand this, you're gonna not only understand yourself on a different level, you're gonna understand why you've been doing certain things, why you've been afraid of doing certain things, but also it's going to help you rethink your interactions with other human beings, rethink the way you see strangers, rethink the way you communicate, act, and behave in order to create new friendship and relationship with people. So let's go straight into this video, guys. And before we get going, guys, if you're new on this channel, thank you for being here and watching this video. Make sure you take some time to hit that subscribe button and really help me grow this channel. It means a lot. Now let's go straight into this. What is it? What is that greatest secret? What is that core principle that is so important? And that principle is this. One of the greatest need that we have as human beings is the need to feel significant, to feel important, to feel special. And this is one of the most important drivers that drives so many of our decisions, behaviors, habit, or desires that we have in life. It is one of the most important things to understand when it comes to human dynamic, whether it's just to understand yourself, to understand why you do what you do, to understand your hidden motivation, but also to understand your deepest fears. Because you gotta understand that there is a polarity here. Yes, we have a deep need to feel important and significant, and I think that's fairly obvious when you look at it. But there's also the greatest fear that comes here, because if on one hand I want to feel very important, I want to feel loved, I want to feel liked, I want to feel special, on the other hand, I really want to avoid the opposite, feeling stupid, insignificant, unseen, unloved, rejected. All those things that can trigger a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of guilt, a lot of anger, all those things that can make us feel small, little, belittled. It sucks to be in those situations. It's painful, it hurts to be in those situations. And so our life is a big dance between trying to get that significance and at all times trying to avoid being in situation where we can deal with rejection, with failure, with embarrassment, and all those things. And so if you just look at it from this way, you start to understand why is it that people want so many things, but yet they're afraid of what are people gonna say, what are people gonna think, am I gonna, appear stupid, am I gonna embarrass myself, am I gonna, they have all those fears regarding others. And sometimes we struggle to make sense of why do we have so many fears? Well, it's because we don't wanna feel, all those things. We don't wanna appear weak and vulnerable and expose ourselves because we don't even know how to deal with that. And so for our ego, and so the ego puts a lot of defenses, a lot of blocks on the way to prevent us from being in those situations. And instead, ego try to create feelings of feeling special. And there are so many strategies that we have in order to feel special. And by the way, marketing and advertisements are doing a phenomenal job in selling products, services, and different things by trying to make people feel significant, special, right? You just see how a super expensive designer bag that people cannot afford, and they take loans and credit card debt simply because of how it makes them feel, the status, the perceived image that it gives them. You can think of all the Botox and all the makeup and all the dresses and expensive watch and all those things that sometimes people can't afford or struggle to afford, all in order to feel a certain way, appear a certain way, and get validation or get that sense of approval or get that sense of worthiness. Different words to simply feel important, special, seen, heard. And so you can see why we love certain services where people remember our name, where people treat us well, where people, just make us feel special in a certain way. And we don't mind spending more money in those places, but we really hate and dislike those places where we are rushed, not listened, not cared, not liked, not welcomed. So those are just a few little examples so that you can see how prevalent this need is behind all the behaviors, behind all the decisions, behind all the things that we do. But you see, the mind is tricky. Even when we are in a low place in our life, our ego will still chase feeling special, even if it means especially miserable. Because yes, many people get a sense of importance by being miserable, because they're simply getting benefits. People rubbing their back, people comforting them, people giving them attention, people just being there for them because of how much shit they go through. So it is extremely tedious sometimes to understand why we do certain things, but once you start to understand and once you start to see why people do through the lenses of how are they getting importance, significance, and validation through what they do, or how are they trying to get it. I mean, how many people spend so much time being people pleaser, seeking external validation, trying to be liked by everybody, avoiding confrontation, doing all those people pleasing, being too nice crap. What is all of this about? It's about getting that feeling. So when I started to understand this, it really helped me really understand people, but also myself, because I started to realize what I was doing in order to feel worthy, in order to feel special, in order to have like that perceived status and that sense of importance, right? So what we have to start to realize is that if we are not in control, and if we let our ego be in control behind that need of significance, it can be dangerous. But if we find a way to meet that need consciously and in a healthy, constructive way in our life, it can really take us to the next level. But where it will really help you the most is in the way you start dealing with other people. Because now that you understand what is it that people want the most, you can start to give it to them. And when you start making people feel significant and important and special, they will remember you. They will treat you differently. Because the saying, people remember how you make them feel. And so when you simply understand the power of doing that, the power of making other people feel important, and how this will be reflected in the relationship that you have, no matter if it's a friend, a stranger, or a deep personal relationship, people remember how you make them feel. And when you help other people feel important, you also feel important yourself. It is one of the greatest things you can give to others. And so once you start understanding that, you can start to see your interaction with other people different. So in a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, most of his book really, and all the principles and tools he gives you, are just ways of making people feel important. Listening to them, remembering the name, touching them, asking questions, being interested in them. All of these are just tools and principles that help you make other people, give them that feeling, genuinely that feeling of significance. Compliment is another one. So I'm not going to go through all of those, because it's best you simply read the book and you get it directly from the book, because it's so worth it to read that book. But you got to understand, you got to see it, you got to use it. You got to understand that the thing people hate the most, fear the most, dislike the most, the thing that can turn you off with people is to make them feel belittled, make them feel stupid, make them feel insignificant. And so it's no wonder that companies who spend a lot of money, a lot of time to make people feel good at work, make them feel valued, make them feel like they're part of something greater and they have a great boss or a great leader. All research shows that those people give more. They're more productive, they're happier, they give more, and they try harder to do a great job. And we all know a lot of people who feel undervalued, who feel like nobody cares about them at work, who feel like strangers at work, and they don't give a fuck about their work. They go there for the money and they just do the bare minimum. So you can see how this could, if you have a business, how this could affect your business, affect the quality of your services, affect what you're doing and creating. And all of this, if you want to motivate people, inspire people, move people, is really helping them, give them that feeling of significance first. And so truly, this is one of the greatest secrets in the world, because we as human beings, we depend, we are social animals, we're social beings, we need other people. Even though now everything is digitalized and we're interacting through text and videos and all of these type of things, it's always about making other people feel important, ourselves and others. How many times have you seen a text and you read the text and you don't know if you should be laughing or if you should be taking it seriously? How many relationships break off because things started well and after the honeymoon period, people feel like, well, you treat me differently, you don't treat me the same way, I feel unseen, unloved, unheard, all these type of things. So this is, in a nutshell, my massive takeaway from this book. And through all those little examples and this little conversation we had, I really hope that you start to understand this as well, and that you start to look at it. Always go the extra mile to make other people feel important, to make them feel special. A little compliment can go a long way, even if it's a stranger, even if it's the barista at the Starbucks, even if it's somebody who just you don't know. A little compliment, a little word of appreciation can be one of the most meaningful things a person receives in the day or in the situation that they're in that you don't know of. So never underestimate the need for significance that people have. With that, guys, I strongly invite you to get that book, to read it. It's one of the greatest books. It's super relevant even today. If you have any questions, make sure you hit them down in the comment box. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and help me grow this community. I will see you next time, guys. Be well.